Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, October 15, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the day in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can still see that we have Tropical Depression Sean, and to the southeast of Tropical Depression Sean, we have that area of possible tropical cyclone development. We can also see that it has fluctuated in intensity. Yesterday it had a 90% chance of formation within the next 7 days. Now it's down to 70%. It states that a broad area of low pressure located over the central tropical Atlantic is producing some shower and thunderstorm activity. Although the environment may not support much development during the next couple of days, conditions are expected to become more conducive thereafter, and a tropical depression is still likely to form mid to late week while moving westward or west-northwestward across the central and western tropical Atlantic. So we can see that the formation chances within the next 48 hours or 2 days is down to 30%, but it still has a high 70% chance of formation within the next 7 days. So we can see that it's still forecast to go towards the Caribbean or maybe miss the Caribbean entirely. Either way, we have to stay updated with exactly what unfolds with this system. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have numerous troughs and cold fronts right there across the northern portion of North Atlantic. Right there up the southeastern coast of the United States, we have another one affecting portions of Florida, the Bahamas, and the Gulf of Mexico with some amount of overcast skies and showers. We can also see that we still have that ridge of high pressure across the Greater Antilles, still keeping the weather at bay. And we can see the L's that represent those areas of low pressure. First L right here, Tropical Depression Sean, and to the southeast of it, that other area of low pressure that's expected to develop and possibly be named Tammy. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that cold front. Lines of clouds bring showers and thunderstorms to sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, southern tip of Florida, sections of Cuba, the Bahamas as well. And we can also see the clouds associated with Tropical Depression Sean and that area of possible tropical cyclone development. We'll be talking more about the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday. It was stated that on the afternoon of Sunday, we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, and with majority of the rainfall across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. I know that when we're talking about eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. And we all know our northern parishes from Hanover all the way over to Portland. And what ended up happening? As early as 1:26 p.m., we saw those clouds starting to build coming in from the south. Definitely had some amount of convection across sections of Portland, northern St. Andrew, far northern St. Thomas, sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, St. James, Hanover. And another post was made a couple hours later at 3:15 p.m. on our Twitter page, keeping in mind that they are not only posted on our Twitter page but our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok pages. So if you have one of those platforms, please ensure that you follow us. So you can see that we definitely had some amount of thunderstorm activity. We can see the high cold cloud tops represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. Definitely got some thunderstorm activity, especially with those sparkling white dots that represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we saw that definitely across sections of western Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, sections of Trelawney, St. James. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see that we indeed had those clouds coming in from the south to bring more in the way of those thunderstorm activity sections of some northern parishes. And if we reload the latest infrared satellite images, we can see that up to recording hour we still had some amount of thunderstorm activity taking place across sections of Hanover and St. James. and we see the confirmation of this on the Cuban Doppler radar images. Still have that rainfall lingering across those very parishes. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, we can see where we indeed had that rainfall, just like what we saw in the satellite images. Definitely western Portland, sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, sections of Hanover, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, definitely got in on some amount of rainfall for today. As related to the temperatures right now, we can see we have 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by 3 a.m. on Monday, the temperature should get down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. Let us take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. You can see that the Euro and the GFS are showing 18 on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday, and we still see that we still have some amount of above normal temperatures to experience across Jamaica, maybe 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of October in Jamaica is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 31 degrees Celsius, so we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 33 degrees Celsius at most. As relates to the dry air map, you can see that majority of Jamaica still experiencing a lot of moist air. We don't see those yellows, oranges, or reds at all across the Jamaica area. We see it, however, across portions of the southeastern Caribbean, the central Caribbean, and the northern portions of the Gulf of Mexico and of the east coast of the United States. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we do see that slight brown colors coming close to the eastern Caribbean, but majority of the vigorous plume of dust indicated by the dark brown color are closer to Africa, as well as across majority of the main development region. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS show lots of light blue colors surrounding the island, and we can see by the key at the bottom right, the light blues represent the 0.54 meter wave heights, and that's due to the fact that the winds are going to be weak, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots. Look at the wind direction coming in from the south on the south coast, kind of coming in from the north on the north coast. Either way, we have that air piling up wherever we have the darker shades of blues. That's where we have the least amount of winds. And what usually happens, we have those cumulus clouds becoming cumulonimbus clouds during the afternoon, and we have that daytime heating. We have that diurnal convection. So something very similar to what happened today, especially considering that we still have that upper level wind shear coming in from the southeast. So definitely gonna be seeing more of this, more of that cloud cover pushing its way to the north. Then we have the thunderstorm activity, and when we have those high cold clouds up, they're gonna be pushed out towards the northwest. So something very similar to what happened today, Sunday, is gonna be happening on Monday, with especially the north coast of Jamaica getting the brunt of the rainfall. If we take a look at the rainfall forecast, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are showing some blues. What time is this? This is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. Definitely see the consensus that northern parishes in Jamaica could be getting in on some morning rainfall. So definitely sections of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover could get in on some amount of rainfall in the morning. Then look at the afternoon hours. Look, what time is this? This is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And we can see the blues stretching all the way from the east to the west across the island on the Euro model. GFS showing something similar, with the brunt of the heaviest of the rainfall across northern Jamaica. Look at those darker shades of blues, even greens across sections of Trelawney, St. Anne, Portland. Definitely going to be getting in on the brunt of the rainfall across northern Jamaica again. So if you have plans for Monday, try to get them done early, because the afternoon is definitely going to be very wet. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are in consensus that definitely eastern, central, and western Jamaica are going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for Monday. But we do see the most rainfall on the GFS mall. GFS showing up to 1.21 inches of rainfall, especially on the north coast for tomorrow. The Euro model showing up to 0.52 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we have the consensus that we're definitely going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for tomorrow, even although the GFS is a bit more robust. Maybe some isolated flash flooding could take place across the northern portions of the island. Either way, we're still grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall. We're in the month of October. We're in the peak of our rainy season. As long as we don't get some tremendous flash flooding that causes loss of life, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to, hold on to before we head into our dry season, the month of December through April. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we don't see much happening across majority of the Caribbean, but we do see some clouds that brought some rain to sections of Haiti, sections of Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico. Definitely gotten some amount of rainfall. And if we take a look at the northeastern Caribbean, we do see where we indeed had some amount of isolated passing shower or two across the region today. Nothing widespread, just some afternoon rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico, Eastern Dominican Republic. Not much across the Leeward Islands at all. As it relates to the Barbados radar, something similar. Lots of isolated one or two hit or miss showers. Some of that rainfall coming into sections of St. Lucia later on tonight. You can see some of that rainfall coming into sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now. We do see some to the far east of Tobago and Trinidad. Definitely going to be getting in on some amount of that later on tonight. Taking a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall across sections of western Cuba, sections of the northwestern coast of Venezuela, not to mention sections of Honduras, Guatemala, and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, but it's mostly isolated rainfall, some hit or miss rainfall. As relates to the temperature forecast, we do see above normal temperatures in store for sections of the eastern to the western Caribbean, but we have the GFS small showing more in the way of those cool temperatures, which makes more sense considering that we do indeed have a cold front across the region, and usually the backside of the cold front is where we have the cooler air, so it makes sense that we see all of these very below average temperatures across the southern US and the Gulf of Mexico, even spilling into sections of the Yucatan Peninsula. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we do see that all of the Caribbean is in the clear. Majority of the dust is right there across the main development region, and hopefully it stays there. Taking a look at the wave forecast for Monday, we do see that majority of the Caribbean should be in for 0.5 meter wave heights or less, as indicated by those light blue colors. Well, it's the Gulf of Mexico that's going to be getting in on the purples that represent 2 meter wave heights or more. And that's due to the fact that the winds are going to be weak across the Caribbean, coming in mainly from the southeast or the east, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots. But look at those strong winds indicated by the yellows across the Gulf of Mexico, definitely churning up the seas, as we can see on the wave forecast earlier. Definitely the Gulf of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of Cuba, the Bahamas, that's where the strongest winds are going to be coming in from the north. And if we take a look at the GFS small, we see something similar, and we know we're looking for consensus when we're looking at both of these supercomputer models. As related to the rainfall forecast, we do see the greens that represent some amount of isolated rainfall across the eastern Caribbean, sections of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, mostly in the way of isolated rainfall. But where we have the very colorful shades of yellows, oranges, that's where we're going to be having more in the way of rainfall. So definitely sections of western Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and sections of the southern peninsula, Yucatan Peninsula, definitely going to be getting in some amount of rainfall. We don't see much in the way of rainfall for sections of eastern Cuba or the Turks and Caicos, but definitely sections of the Cayman Islands, as we can see on the GFS small, and sections of Cuba as well as sections of the Bahamas are going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall. And we know that when both the Euro and GFS smalls are showing something similar like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.